Hello, Master Duel Central. How's it going, guys? Today, I want to do for you a quick tier list. So this tier list here is if we don't get Sprite, like in 2 weeks. So like for the next format without Sprite, but also with the ban list in effect. But if we do get Sprite in the next 2 weeks or something like that, then I'll definitely have to update the tier list because Sprite is definitely going to do a huge splash on the metagame. But anyway, without further ado, let's just get into this tier list. And of course, in there, we have the God tier Karibo mate. I have to give it to Karibo. Give it up for Karibo. Absolutely wonderful. And now we can actually get into the list. So for the top tier S tier, I actually don't think Runic is like the top of the top in a tier of its own type of deck anymore. You know, I used to say that it was like tier 0 almost, like it's like tier 1 is Runic and then everything else is like tier 1.5. I don't really believe that anymore. I do still think Runic is a top tier deck, but I do think people have kind of learned to play against it. There's definitely a lot more variety now than when Runic had just dropped and it just felt like you couldn't really play anything. So I definitely think Runic is top tier. However, in the top tier, we also have Mathmech. And yes, I'm going to put Mathmech above Runic. This might be kind of iffy. Like, honestly, I feel like in the top tier, we have Runic, Mathmech, and Sword Soul. And I genuinely think all three of these are interchangeable. Personally, I think Sword Soul is on the lower end of this, but to be honest, they're all just incredible, super easy, spectacular Diamond 1 decks. And as you guys know, I like starting my tier lists with the top of the top. It makes it a lot easier then to base everything off of the metagame there. Put them in the order you want. Me personally, I think Mathmech is the best out of these three decks, but I mean, I can totally understand if someone wants to put Runic at the very top here. But most definitely, these three decks here are what the meta is shaped around. So with these in place, we can keep on going with the list here. And let's do something funny. Let's do something Cyber Dragons. Cyber Dragons got the Therion stuff. They're like playable. They're not even rogue, to be honest. I think Cyber Dragon is so bad, dude. I honestly think Cyber Darks are better than Cyber Dragon right now. They're just so bricky. They're so bricky. What the boards they set up are not very good. They're going second deck when there's like a million better going second decks in the game. I genuinely think Blue Eyes is better than Cyber Dragon, and that's not even a meme. I genuinely think Blue Eyes is a better deck. Yes, it's bricky as well, but it has better support in general. I genuinely just think it's a better deck. It's better at going second too. It OTKs easier. I don't know. I just think Blue Eyes is better, straight up. Anyway, on with the list here. All right, next up, let's do Adamantipator's. So Adamantipator's, honestly, I think they're really amazing. But the thing is, they did kind of get hit because Union Carrier does hurt Adamantipator by being banned, just because Adamantipator's could like equip a block dragon and then do shenanigans to get it in the grave and stuff like that. So that definitely hurts. And losing a copy of Grass is Greener does mean that the PAL version is not dead, but like very suboptimal. Now, I'm still going to try to play it with the PAL version because like I absolutely crushed Ladder last time. And I still think like even though they lost the Union Carrier, this deck does not necessarily need it. Like, honestly, I have it in my deck, but I never activated Union Carrier even once. I was just like, Granite too good. Granite too good. So many ways to get it in the grave. Xeno Guitar is great as well as a way to do it. So, I don't know. I still think this deck is absolutely amazing. Like, on the cusp of being top tier still. I just think Adamantipator's is incredible. So, I'm putting it, like, at the top of A tier. I think it's just amazing. All right, and next up is Marincess. Now, I keep forgetting to put Marincess on my tier list, so this time I did not forget. And where do I want to put Marincess? Yeah, I think B makes sense for them. Probably like a high B. The thing about Marincess is even though they lost the Toad, they're still like a really solid deck. But man, losing that Toad is huge. They're still a very, very strong deck, though. Their boards are still really solid, even without the Toad. One thing that sucks about Marincess is they can't really abuse the Mathmech stuff in the same way that other Cybers decks can. But they're still just such a good deck with so many extenders that they don't really need it to play. They're kind of like a water Ignister, but they have some tricks up their sleeves, and that trap card is just incredible. That hand trap that they have is just too good. Let's do Dinomorphia. Dinomorphia is really solid. I think Dinomorphia is also a tier 3 deck. I don't know where it's going to situate itself in tier 3, but I think definitely tier 3 is good for it. The thing about Dinomorphia is even though it's a really, really solid deck, the life point management is like a bit difficult to manage, right? So you don't see it a lot. And when you do see it, oftentimes you just win because your opponent like wasn't super optimal with the way they were burning themselves. In the hands of the right player, this deck goes absolutely bonkers and it's just terrifying to play against. I almost always forget to put Ignisters on a list. And I used to laugh at Ignisters, but now that ad Ignisters have the ability to play some Mathmech cards with Mathmech Circular in the format, I genuinely think they're like pretty high tier 2. You already know like the tower is insane, right? But they have other things too that they can do. Like they can set up like a negate in the graveyard, which with I think it's called Gachi. I don't know the name, so I'm not gonna even try. But I know they have a bunch of interruptions that they can set up in the graveyard and different ways to protect. I think I've been sleeping on this deck, honestly. High tier 2. Fair for me. Let's talk about zombies here. We'll start with Eldritch since they got buffed. Eldritch got Conquistador to 2, which is nice. It's nice. It's good. It's really good for them. They also got what's the other card that they got to 3? Give me a second. I gotta check here. Cursed Eldland. Yeah, that's really solid. The thing is, I don't really see Eldritch coming back into favor. Like because it's just like it's a good Floodgate deck, but Runic is literally just a better Floodgate deck. And if you want to play a trap deck, I think Labyrinth is just a better trap deck overall. I will say Eldritch does have a better grind game than Labyrinth overall, but I don't really think that's enough. Like Labyrinth is super explosive. Eldritch is very like, if you don't count the floodgates, Eldritch doesn't do that much really. It's kind of slow. I just feel like Eldritch is past its prime at this point. I think it's like, honestly, I genuinely think it's like a top of rogue, like a high rogue deck. I really don't think it's much better than that. And while we're doing Eldritch, we might as well do zombies as well. And Zombie Pile, I love Zombie Pile, but you know, losing 1 copy of Grass is huge for zombies, and that is a huge loss. So in my opinion, like zombies are also rogue, probably under Eldritch now. They have a good matchup against Runic, so like Zombie Pile was really cool because you could run Shiranuis and stuff against Runic. They would trigger your Shiranuis in the Banish Pile as well as your Necroface, and that was kind of fun. It was really cool, so that was useful like when like everyone was playing Runic, but now it's really not the case. It's a very diverse format, and I really don't think Zombie World does much in this kind of format, to be honest with you. Now, for the next deck here, let's do a controversial one. Let's keep it up with the controversy here. Got Branded Despia. I don't think Branded Despia is top tier anymore. Like it's top tier in the sense that it's absolutely amazing. Like it's a great deck, but I don't think it's up here with the big boys anymore. It's like, sure, you'll get to Diamond with Branded Despia, no problem. And a lot of people still play it because they invested all their gems to play this deck. They have to play it, and it's still really good. But honestly, I really don't think it's up here. I think it's like here. Is that crazy? I don't know. I think it's there. I don't think it's up with the big boys anymore. I genuinely think it's not as good as either Ignister or Adamancipators. I'm not too worried about Branded Despia usually when I'm facing it. Not to say I never lose to it or anything. Like, of course, it's still an amazing deck. I'm just saying, like, it is kind of a relief when I'm playing against this versus like playing against this or even this sometimes, you know, because they don't really set up like negates and stuff like that. So they just kind of have to play it smart, play their interruptions in a good way. And usually the scariest Despia board at this point for me is like 2 Masquerade. 2 Masquerade is the scariest thing Despia does in my opinion. So maybe more people should do that and I would change my mind, but almost no one does that. Before people say I'm biased here, let's do Dinos. And okay, Dinos, like, bro, Dinos are too bricky, man. They're too bricky. Every build. I tried every build. There's not a build I haven't tried, bro. Going first, going second. Everything. Going second, it's not that it's bricky. It's that going second is just not great right now in the game. Like, you have so many decks that set up insane interruption. Going second against, like, Adamancipator, Sword Soul, Runic, or even, like, arguably even Adignister. Although Adignister is not too bad because we do have a searchable Kaiju still. I just feel like it's just not great in the game right now to have a focus on going second. You want to be able to go second, but also be really good going first. And while Dinos are that, they're also super bricky. So honestly, for me, Dinos is like C tier, and it's probably going to be like close to the bottom of C tier, to be honest. On to the next deck here, we got Salamangreats, and they got their Gazelle 2-3, which is huge. They're going to be ultra consistent now. The boards they set up are not super terrifying, though. They are already a super consistent deck, so with 3 Gazelle, it's going to make them even more consistent, and definitely something to look out for. They can also play, like, 2 Circular and do shit with that. So, like, I don't want to sleep on the Salamangreats. I'm going to put them in B tier. I think they're actually quite solid and a pretty good pick to get to Diamond 1 for sure. It's definitely, like, a bit of an uphill battle, just like pretty much any deck in the B tier. but they're still like super capable of doing it. For the next one here, we've got, oh, well, I should probably do this right now. Predaplant Therion. Predaplant Therion with the branded stuff is really, really solid. A lot of people perform really well in Diamond with the Predaplant Therions, and I used to think they were better than branded Despia. And in a way, I still feel that way. They're a bit less consistent. They are more prone to bricking than Despia, but they have a lot more gas too. In Despia, oftentimes, when you stop the branded fusion, the plays become very, very limited. Whereas in Predaplants, they can stop your branded fusion and you still got gas and gas and gas. But you can also not draw into branded fusion or any fusion and just kind of pass on nothing. It loses consistency compared to like branded Despia for more extenders and more powerful boards. So I'm going to put it here, but like you can switch these around however you like. They're pretty much dead even for me. Next up here, we have, Floowandereeze. Now, Floowandereeze is still an insane deck, right? I'm not feeling S tier with Floowandereeze anymore. They lost one shifter, which is actually a pretty huge deal. They are still super amazing, though. They're amazing. They're amazing tier. They're better than branded. They're better than branded. Honestly, probably better than Adagnister 2. I don't even think they're better than Adamancipators, though. I think Adamancipators going second is just too good. Floowandereeze are so ass at going second, but the thing is they get so many free wins, so they're definitely one of the quicker routes to D1. The thing is, like, you got to get lucky on your coin flips, because going second with this deck is complete ass. I mean, of course, going second with a D-shifter makes it a lot better, but now you only have 2 D-shifters, right? So, I don't know. I feel like this is a really good spot for it. It's still insane. Normal Robina, sadly, is still super fucking good. But, yeah, I'm feeling A tier on this one. Next, ABCs. Dude, how could they do this? So, they banned Union Carrier like a month after they dropped Therion to make ABCs good, which means with a limited adventure engine and no Union Carrier, ABC is officially ass. It is ass. It's not good. I'm sorry, like, I wish it was. Like, I'm probably going to dismantle this deck when the new shit comes. Whatever the new pack is, I'm probably going to dismantle ABCs, because it's like, what am I even going to do with this, bro? This deck really needed the consistency boost, and now it doesn't have it. It's just unfortunate, honestly. This deck is super, super cool, but it's just too many things, like indirect hits that hurt it a lot, and a direct hit, like a KO direct hit to the face with the Union Carrier getting banned. Very unfortunate. I kind of understand why they did it, of course, but I just don't really think building ABC Therion is worth it right now, as cool as the deck is and as fun as it is. That being said, it's still got really good boards, and it's not the most inconsistent deck in the world, but I feel like it's not much better than Rogue. In fact, I'm putting it here, but yeah, it's probably above these two, to be honest, because the thing is, it's not like the most inconsistent deck in the world, right? Like, you have those quick play spells, I forget what it's called, that will equip a monster from your deck. The field spell is incredible, but you know, it's just sometimes you'll draw just monsters and you can't really play, so it's unfortunate. But yeah, this is where I'm going to be putting it. Next up, we have Scareclaws. Now, Scareclaws, in my opinion, are still really good in the game. Not like amazing, not top tier, but Scareclaw is super, super solid. Will absolutely be able to get you to Diamond 1. Scareclaw Adventure especially is what I'm talking about here. Not talking about the Tri-Brigade variant. And yeah, it's just very solid, very fun to play. I mean, obviously, it doesn't do the kind of boards that these decks do, but it also has an insanely strong going second turn. So this is a deck that can go first, set up some negates, set up some good interruption, like it can do a Barrel on the Fleur with a Griffin, for instance, and then go in second, it can just like OTK like nothing, like piercing damage, attack 2-3 times, like thank you, goodbye, have a good day, you know? Let's put it right here under Dinomorphia. I think is a good spot for it. Next up, we have the Kings of Rogue. It's always Rogue, it's always Heroes. I'm honestly starting to question myself on Rogue with heroes, but every time I fight against a hero player, it's always easy claps. So I'd like to be proven wrong, because I have a lot of dedicated hero players in my Discord who talk about heroes and they get these great results with heroes, but then whenever I face them, it's like, oh shit, oh okay, this is free. So, I don't know. I'm leaving them in Rogue. I know some people in my Discord are going to disagree, but it is what it is. Now, Labyrinth is really solid, but I also think it's really overrated. This deck is lacking in recursiveness. Like, the fact that if they get, like, Lightning Stormed, they get slowed down so much. They really like lose the flow of the game, and they rarely ever recover from it. So in my opinion, even though its plays are incredibly explosive and the trap chains go insane, and when you get it, you just win for free and it's based, I don't think I can put it much higher than based, right? So we're going to put it right here, right under Salamangreat. I think is a decent spot for it. We have Sky Strikers. Sky Strikers, I think I underrated, to be honest. They're just great. They have, the thing is, they'll out advantage you so hard. Like, they will generate so much advantage that you literally can't keep up. And going second, they have a lot of tools to deal with a lot of different matchups. I don't know how good their matchup against Runic is. I haven't really seen that, so that's questionable to me. So I'm not inclined to put them very high on amazing. I'm like bordering between base and amazing. They're gonna probably stay at the bottom of A tier for me. I feel like that's kind of the spot for Sky Strikers. We've got the Tri-Brigades. And Tri-Brigades, I think, is also amazing. Probably not at the bottom, probably like right above Sky Strikers. You don't see them as often anymore, but they have a lot of good things about them, right? Like, they play around Nibiru really well. They've got a lot of really strong combos and interruptions. They can go second fairly well. Just being able to out Runic Fountain is a huge boon for a deck in the game right now. You really want those ways of outing the Runic Fountain, and this one has a really good in-engine way with the Shurag. So, Shurag, a hell of a card. Tri-Brigade Revolt, hell of a card. I think amazing is still fair for the Tri-Brigades. Now, Life Twin, I think Life Twin is like in C tier. Probably like a high C tier. You could be playing a better going second deck when you're playing Life Twin. Like, you could be playing Strikers. If and when Sprite drops and I make an emergency tier list, these gals are probably going to go up because they are level 2s. They can literally, you summon one, you get a free rank 2. So they're definitely going to have some kind of plays that they can do with the Sprite cards. And I'm looking forward to showcasing some kind of Life Twin Sprite build. That's going to be really cool. Might get them up to a based tier here. But for now, C tier, because we do not have confirmation on Sprite. Let's just say C for now. Next up, we have the Kyriushin. Now, Kyriushin, in my opinion, it's like playable, like right above Blue Eyes. Like, it's playable. It's just a weird deck. It's like a gamble deck. You can get to Diamond 1 if you want, but it's like a coin flip, right? It's literally like, oh, am I not going to break for like 30 games in a row? It's really not consistent. It's a cool deck, though, and like, you definitely can perform really well with it. I'd say this is one of the best decks to get to Diamond, but not a good deck to get to the top of Diamond. But it's a really good deck if you're trying to get free wins, like in Silver or in Platinum or in Gold. I feel like free wins, like, this is the deck to go for, because so many matchups, when there's like a huge variety of matchups, you won't be seeing water decks very often, and just locking down waters going first is going to get so many quick scoops. So, yeah, pretty interesting deck for that, for ranking up quickly. Ooh, a deck I heavily overrated, Sun Avalons. Okay, so Sun Avalons, yeah, I was saying these guys would be, like, up here. Like, I was saying they'd be up here pretty much, like, last tier list. And I have not been seeing Sun Avalon. I think the thing about Sun Avalon is probably just that the combos take too long. Literally, it's a race against a timer playing Sun Avalon, so I think a lot of people are not doing it. I honestly feel like they're going to be at the bottom of A until the new Rika support comes out and I see Summon Ladder. I'm going to put them in bottom of A because I know what they're capable of, and it's incredible, right? They can U-Link, they can go second, they can play around, they can keep playing after Nib. So they have a lot of things going for them, but you don't see them. So I'm going to put them at the bottom of A, and, we'll see what happens. Let's do Drytron. I think Drytron is probably in C tier as well. Low-key, I kind of want to put it under Dinos. This is a weird one. They're almost even. I genuinely think like Drytron and Dinos are practically even, because Drytron, like, it's ass at going second. It's just trash at it, but it sets up a really solid board, to be fair, and it's pretty consistent. Dinos, on the other hand, is very inconsistent, and it sets up an incredible board on turn 1, just like Drytron, but it's not ass at going second. It's very good at going second. So I'm kind of mixed on this. I'm going to put Dinos above Drytron just out of self-respect, but honestly, you could probably interchange these. Tier 3, we're definitely going to put the Numerons. I think Numerons are not as good as Life Twin. They're pretty cool going second deck. It's just not the format for it. See, all 3 of these are pretty much going second decks. Dinos you can play going first, but I think it's worst right now. And yeah, I don't know. Just going second decks are just not the meta right now. The only one that I really see like a good reason to play is Sky Striker, because Sky Striker is just so insane at going both first and second and generate so much advantage that it's kind of hard to keep up with. They also have so many ways to bait out negates. None of their spells are hard once per turns. It's just tougher. It's just an uphill battle in C tier, you know what I mean? I do think down here in Rogue tier we have Nordics. I'm going to stand by this. We got one guy playing Nordics, and that's my boy Unnicknamed in the Discord. He is the only Nordic player on the planet, and he has been carrying Nordics for ages. Now, I want to apologize. I just realized that the playable tier down here is, you can't even see it. But yeah, Nordics, shout out Unnicknamed. That guy, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT of Nordics, okay? Got to put some respect on my boy Unnicknamed. For the final deck on the list here, we have Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragons is weird. I still think it's really, really solid, like, obviously, because it's Thunder Dragons, and they can do an easy Colossus, and Colossus is amazing. But honestly, it feels like Colossus is not enough most of the time. It really doesn't feel like it's enough. I don't know. Titan is a good card. I'm kind of mixed on, like, they just don't feel that good, to be honest. Like, when I see them, I'm not really worried about them. I often feel like a free win for the most part. I think I'm going to put them, like, high C tier. Like, I don't think they're quite rogue. Like, they're not that bad, but they're not that great either. They're just kind of okay. That's the tier list. Sorry about the mistake with the playables down here. I hope you guys don't mind that too much. That was my mistake. Let me know what you guys think of the tier list in the comments. I kind of like this format. It's actually quite varied. As I always say, every deck on this list can make it to Diamond 1. It's just like, it's almost like a difficulty rating scale, you know, like this is going to be insanely difficult. This is going to be really difficult. You know what I mean? This is going to be the easiest decks probably to get to Diamond 1. These are also quite easy to get to Diamond 1 with. But as always, you need to be a good pilot. You need to know your deck. You need to know the meta. So we do see a little bit of everything, and not every single deck you'll see is on this list. I tried to keep it just to the most relevant decks we see in Master Duel. There's some that probably slipped through the cracks. Let me know if I missed a deck you wanted to see in the comment section. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you. Huge shout out to my UCT tier members. That would be Raptor, Retro, Boggerman for 20, Dadu, Joey, Hoodamami, as well as Right Toast and Brett Webster. You guys are awesome, okay? But yeah, peace.